Adventures of Sonic Episode 63. Sonic is running. Wow, they've definitely run out of ideas if they're using such a generic title. After Robotnik is told that his mom is visiting him again, which excited me, he barricades the door and predictably she breaks it down. I guess she has super strength like a cyborg. She says she's never been so humiliated. Her friend's son was elected president. Oh, of his garden club. That was going to be ridiculous for a second. She lectures Robotnik because he's not popular, even though she specifically raised him to be evil, so what did she expect? And he says that he hates gardening. She tells Robotnik that she wants him to run for president of Mobius. He doesn't want to be fair by running an election. Okay, this plot already is worrying me. Who would vote for Robotnik? Then again, maybe people would vote for Robotnik because they know he's evil and want to see how he'll run the planet. The whole city gets plastered with Robotnik posters. Which city? And who would let a evil terrorist fugitive like Robotnik run for president? Like, he would be disqualified immediately. Tails is actually worried that Robotnik will win the election. I wish he made it clear that it's because he has no faith in humanity, because that's the only way that would make sense. And Sonic graffitis the Robotnik posters. Kind of hypocritical since the Sonic Says section told us not to vandalize. Like, they want him to be a role model, but then they have him doing stuff like this and eating nothing but chili dogs. Robotnik approaches Weasley, who admits that he helped Sonic, and instead of punching Weasley for it characteristically, he doesn't even hit him. Instead, he's threatened into helping Robotnik again. He says way to Weasley that compared to Mama Robotnik, Robotnik's meek as a lamb. And he gets bribed with money into going into their Eggmobile. Mama Robotnik, aside from being an abusive mother, hasn't done half the shit Robotnik has, like robbing a village or turning someone into a robot. Fortunately, Henry Walrus has 90% of the vote, but President of Mobius? Am I supposed to believe there's already a President of Mobius? A world dictator? Wouldn't he by definition be evil from all that power in his hands? Like, he would logically be evil, but yet this is the first time we've heard of this position. This is way too easy for Robotnik, all to justify having a story where he can run for leader of the world, and not just leader of one country, when it wouldn't make any difference in the plot. Then an android wife is made for Robotnik, who makes him cookies and doesn't look horrible this time. I wish she was in the whole show. Why didn't he make one from the start of the show? Then Weasley wants to build Robotnik a dog too, putting in random materials in the machine, including a heart of gold that will somehow form the perfect adorable robot dog. He's trying to give Robotnik good PR, but there's no way this would be bought by anyone. Why would a robot dog bite Robotnik's heel? I mean, he has a heart of gold, so he wouldn't be mean enough to do that when he was just born. He naturally traps him in a room, and the dog growls at him, making me think he'll be a Chekhov's gunman who will take him down. Well, not permanently, but for the episode. Then Weasley suggests Hypnovision. Yeah, Robotnik should have had it himself. He should have suggested this from the start. This is the only logical way Robotnik could possibly have a shot at being elected leader of the world. Robotnik's election campaign says they should return to a simple time with simple people. Well, this reminds me of something. A robot dog bites Robotnik, but only Sonic laughs as everyone else is in a hypnotic trance. Why the fuck doesn't Sonic get hypnotized too? He's seeing the message! At least when Fleetway did this concept, Tails wasn't watching the show. Mama Robotnik gets burned when she tries to pick up a pie. The lame excuse for Sonic not being hypnotized is that his eyes are faster. Scratch and Grounder drop a pole on Robotnik, and the hypnotized civilians turn on Sonic for laughing at Robotnik. Predictably, Sonic says that he's running for president. Why did I ever have any faith in the show to dismiss that idea as too stupid? No idea is too stupid for the show. Compared this to Fleetway, where a civilian said only Sonic is fit to rule Mobius, and Sonic said, "Thanks, but I'm not cut out for a desk job." Sonic would suck as a president. Anyway, Sonic edits tapes to make Robotnik look bad because the megaphone starts insulting him, blatantly cheating at the election already. Way to prove yourself as the good guy. But this doesn't matter as Robotnik gains support. This beats the shit out of Flynn making Ix's Nagas get elected the king without brainwashing. Because here, the civilians are explicitly stated to be brainwashed into it. See? That wasn't so hard. And I guess I can pretend that the way he brainwashed people was pollen. Maybe I'm supposed to think it's magical subliminal messages in his campaign, but subliminal messages, I can't believe in them anymore after I read that they wouldn't work because you wouldn't be conscious of them, and so you wouldn't be able to remember them. So you would notice them, but then you would forget about them. Robotnik has to eat stuff in front of a crowd, and Sonic replaces what he's being given with horrible stuff just before he eats them. And this happens over and over and over again to pad out the episode. Wouldn't literally everyone see what's happening? He spits out what's clearly black stuff, and this angers the crowd that's supposed to be brainwashed when they should just see what happened to him and cut him some slack. Sonic then fools Scratch and Grounder with a disguise he shouldn't have because the writing just got lazy and gave up. He says he's here for a safety inspection and loosens bolts on a bridge that Robotnik's standing on with a bunch of innocent people. When the bridge falls apart, the crowd of people turn on him. I guess they snapped out of it from remembering that Robotnik always causes destruction. Then Robotnik's wife looks forward to someone interviewing him, and he's mad at her for decorating his fortress to look good and harmless. A news reporter says that Robotnik's popularity is plunging, even though, you know, the citizens are hypnotized. Shouldn't it be harder to unhypnotize them than that? I didn't know you could screw up writing brainwashing. The whole point of hypnotizing is that they can't be suspicious. Sonic somehow fools Robotnik with a disguise as a woman and puts kiss lipstick around Robotnik's face, making his robot wife think Robotnik is cheating on her. To be fair, he did show that he was willing to cheat on her just fine, so he deserved it. But first of all, shouldn't he have figured out that it was a hedgehog? And second, there's no way in hell that he would be fooled by Sonic's disguise. Robotnik is humiliated in public, and when the cameras are off, he asks Scratch and Grounder to humiliate Sonic. They're reluctant to help at first because Robotnik thought their methods were too crude. Scratch and Grounder's attempts to humiliate Robotnik only humiliate him somehow. I wish it was explained that they intentionally were humiliating Robotnik to make him pay for mistreating them. And he eventually gives up and tries to kill Sonic. Sonic goes up to him in the woman disguise again. His robot wife and dog turn on him when they should be programmed to not do that at all. Wait, did the robot wife free the dog? Is that how we got here? And Sonic gets the lead in the presidential election, while Robotnik only gets one vote. That is the stupidest sentence Claus have ever said. Well, I've said plenty worse in Fleetway.
After all I went through, I get one stinking vote.
He said he got one vote, and then he thinks that multiple robots voted for him. But, what? Scratch and Grounder forgot to vote because they were too busy, and Mama Robotnik voted against Robotnik because he can't do anything right. I'm pretty sure you can't vote for yourself, so that was the only way you could get even one vote, so what? He then pulls down the curtain and sends an angry mob after his mother, finally standing up to her.
I've never been so humiliated in all my life to get you to be elected president, because you can't do anything right! You ingrate! Will I bust out next time? Hey, let me go! Take your hands off me, you freaking bastard!
Sonic resigns immediately as president, and appoints Henry Walrus as the president. Can he do that? And he gets Robotnik's wife, while Weasley seems to want to be a secretary. Then Robotnik drives around in a tank despite being covered in bandages, and Sonic runs around the tank and that causes something beside the tank to crush it, when him doing that by running around the tower beside it would have made a little more sense. The Sonic Says section lectures you about brushing your teeth when that has nothing to do with the episode. Not all of them are like this. On repeated viewings, like seeing this episode again, I can't even like this episode anymore. Like the premise of Eggman trying to be the president and we see his campaign, that was fun to watch, but Sonic is he wins so unfairly, and he cheats and he cheats and he wins. He two disguises in a row. No! It wasn't a satisfying victory at all. I don't know how I had any enjoyment the first time. Robotnik getting public support because he brainwashes people with his campaign beats the ever-loving shit out of Flynn's story arc where Ixis gets good PR by not by brainwashing people. Despite being a well-known monster, they shouldn't ever give a chance. However, the idea that there's a position as ruler of the world for Robotnik to run in for a presidential election, well, it's just too convenient for him. Wouldn't he just have ruler of a country available? I'm supposed to believe the world isn't a dystopia already when it has world dictators already, and yet we haven't heard of them yet. And there's no way people would break out of the brainwashing that easily. If anything, Sonic should have just kept looking like a bad guy to them because he keeps messing with Robotnik. Sonic should have just sprayed them all with an antidote. Maybe I'm supposed to believe that when they were first brainwashed, which was only by his first campaign commercial, the effects lasted, but they weren't permanently rewiring their brains. So their minds can still be changed. It's more like the brainwashing made everyone forget how evil Robotnik is, and him being humiliated, which is what Sonic tends to do for a good reason, sparked their memories again, because they're reminded of the other times he humiliated them, except I don't think any of those times were caught on camera, like a few of them were, but nobody says that. Robotnik never says that his campaign gives people amnesia of who he is, and that people just need to be reminded. And Robotnik's wife and dog should have been programmed to not be able to turn on him. It's the common sense thing that all of his robots are programmed with in every other continuity there is. Even the games are written better. So them turning on him was forced. As was Sonic fooling people with disguises, that's always dumb. It was smart of Sonic to resign as the president and put someone actually competent in charge who would know what they were doing and not be too busy fighting Robotnik to run the world. If he hadn't resigned, his reputation would have plummeted because he wouldn't be able to run the world well no matter what. I love that Mama Robotnik came back for the episode to push Robotnik into becoming a leader who's popular. She showed up a lot more than I expected her to in the show, which was just once. But she didn't really do much, and ultimately it was Weasley who did stuff by suggesting hypnotism in the first place. We really shouldn't have seen Sonic witnessing the campaign ad, because the idea that he wasn't brainwashed was just ridiculous. Just don't have Sonic see that ad, and the episode would have made more sense instead of having Sonic being able to oppose Robotnik afterwards completely forced. Maybe Robotnik should have succeeded at this plan to become an actual threat because he'd have actual power, and not just hide in his fortress that anyone can walk into, make me wonder why the cops don't come in, since Scratch and Grounder would just trip over each other trying to stop them. Like, even the best case scenario, like in Fleetway, you have Gun wanting to stop him, but even if there was just one really powerful military after him, even if all the other militaries sucked, if all of them combined with forces, they would still beat Robotnik. Sonic wouldn't be his primary problem. Plus, I don't think you can vote for yourself, so there's no way Robotnik could have done that for the only vote he got. The story made no sense, but it was amusing, at least.